Only a high school diploma? Dropping out of middle school is kind of sketchy, isn't it? Look, there's a reason for that. No need to explain. Our worlds are just different, okay? You don't have to put it like that. I'm married, 33 years old. I have been married to my husband David for 10 years. We have a first-grade daughter named Betty, making us a family of 3. I have loved drawing since I was a kid and now I work in the arts. Currently, I'm pregnant with our second child. As my belly grows, each day becomes increasingly challenging. Despite his busy schedule, David tries to come home early. He even takes time off work to handle chores and childcare for me. Life was good for our little family, but something started bothering me recently. We live on the first floor of a high-rise apartment building. The other day, while coming back from shopping, I saw a woman moving into our building. Turns out she's Emma, a classmate from middle school. I hadn't seen Emma since a get-together right after middle school. When she noticed me, she said, "Wait, Mary? You live here too?" "Yeah, what about you? Moving in today?" Apparently, Emma had just moved into the building. Her face fell when she realized I was also a resident. Living in the same high-rise as a dropout? Unbelievable. You see, I'm a dropout just like Emma said. I had reasons not to pursue further education after middle school, but I never told Emma. Last time we met, Emma had mocked me for being a high school dropout, and it seemed like nothing had changed. She was still belittling me. Annoyed, I listened as Emma continued. "So what floor are you on? I'm on 35. I realized Emma was trying to show off based on the floor number in the apartment building. I answered truthfully, "I'm on the first floor." Hearing this, Emma's face lit up with smug satisfaction. "First floor?" "Makes sense. You're a dropout after all. I'll have to invite you up to my 35th floor place sometime. Great views, you know." Emma continued to boast. Emma apparently worked at a major corporation after graduating from college up until last year. Now, she plans to start her own business and use this high-rise apartment as both her home and office. "So that basically makes me the CEO. What about you? Do you work?" When Emma asked, I began to explain my work. "Yeah, I'm in the art business." Emma interrupted. "Art? You mean like drawing? That's a job?" Feeling belittled, I snapped back. I've turned what I love into a career, and it is a real job. Emma ignored me, saying, "Well, it must be so nice working within the household income. What's your goal, like $900 a month?" I just listened in silence, not having the energy to retort. "People like you who dropped out live in a different world from elites like me." Just then, David and our daughter Betty, dressed in work clothes, walked up. "Mom."
"Oh, Mary, do you know each other?"
When David spoke to me, Emma looked up and down and laughed. "Is this your husband in work clothes?" Feeling insulted, I finally snapped back. "Why are you laughing? That's rude." Emma continued unapologetic. "I wasn't laughing. He's just the type I would expect for a dropout like you. 2-income family on the first floor. He must not make much either." Finally, I had enough of Emma's rudeness. "How dare you say that about my husband? Apologize." Emma laughed and said, "Why would I apologize? By the way, are you pregnant?" It was then she finally noticed my pregnancy. "Yes, I'm 7 months along." "Must be tough financially with another child on the way." "Can you even afford to live here?" I didn't want to hear any more of Emma's snide comments. I grabbed David and Betty and headed home. Emma called out after us, "See you. Come up to the 35th floor if you ever want a good view." But I ignored her and went inside. I couldn't shake my anger at Emma all day. Why did she have to say those things? That night, after Betty had gone to sleep, David asked me what had happened. I told him about Emma, how she had made fun of me for being a dropout and belittled my work. David's face turned red and he seemed even angrier than I was. David knew about my past, including the fact that I dropped out of school and chose to marry me with a complete understanding of who I am. We decided to keep our distance from Emma since the anger towards her didn't seem to subside for a while. Luckily, we didn't run into Emma for a month, allowing us to live our lives peacefully. Then one day, we received a postcard for a school reunion. I still get along well with my middle school friends, so after getting a few messages about meeting at the reunion, I decided to go. While I looked forward to catching up with friends, I was also a bit concerned about running into Emma and hearing her unwelcome comments. But thinking that after having a baby, I would have fewer chances to meet my friends, I set aside my worries about Emma and decided to attend the reunion, and then the day of the reunion arrived. The reunion took place in a rented hotel ballroom. As soon as I arrived, I met up with friends I hadn't seen in years, and we immediately fell into enjoyable conversation. It had been a long time since we had all caught up, and there was so much to talk about. Our friend group has always been tight-knit regardless of gender. Some have become mothers, others fathers, and we all love catching up about our families and careers. But then, out of the blue, we heard Emma's voice from behind. Ugh, breathing the same air as poor people is making me sick. As expected, Emma had shown up too. We hadn't noticed her since we were only speaking with friends we were actually close to. Emma was wearing heavy makeup and a flashy dress that seemed out of place. Both my friends and I sighed at her over the top appearance and her consistently bad attitude. Even back in middle school, she was self-centered and made awkward comments. She was someone we tended to avoid. Nothing has changed. Even now at 33, she is as obnoxious as ever, and we couldn't help but roll our eyes. One friend finally broke the silence. Emma, who are you calling Pool? She replied, who else? But Mary, she's a dropout, so she's poor and lives on the first floor. I live on the 35th. It's like a master-servant relationship. Emma laughed after saying this. A few friends were angered by her comments and confronted her. But Emma showed no signs of remorse. She continued, if you don't want to be called poor, why don't you move to an older apartment that suits you, haha? Completely oblivious to the looks she was getting, she continued to belittle me. Why don't you just leave, you $900 a month earner? From this reunion and from that fancy apartment building. Hearing this, my friends looked puzzled and asked, Mary, do you only earn $900 a month? I replied, no, that's just what Emma believes. While we were talking, Emma interrupted, what are you two whispering about? Mary's living comfortably on her husband's income, doing a part-time job because she's a dropout, and I am a CEO. That's when a male classmate nearly spoke up.
Emma, do you not know Mary is a well-known artist?
Upon hearing this, Emma looked baffled and asked, an artist? Who cares? I decided to come clean with Emma, not wanting to let her arrogance ruin the mood of the reunion any further. I actually studied art in France, right after middle school. I didn't complete a formal program, so you could say I dropped out. Upon hearing this, Emma scoffed. What? France? Studying? Art is just a hobby, isn't it? You're still a dropout who ran away because you didn't want to study. Emma clearly didn't get it, so I elaborated a bit more. I spent several years training, and now I manage an art gallery while also creating my own works. Believe it or not, I have fans and have even held my own exhibitions. Some classmates here have even bought my art. In reality, I was a young artist known within certain circles. After training in France, I returned to New York and kickstarted my career as an artist, which finally blossomed in recent years. As for David, we met at one of my exhibitions and clicked instantly, which led to marriage. Even with all this explanation, Emma still didn't seem to get it. Come on. An exhibition is still just play, right? I am a CEO. I'm clearly winning here. Exasperated, I replied, this isn't about winning or losing, Emma. You may think I'm foolish for pursuing art, but I take my work seriously. Emma, not wanting to concede, fired back, then why are you living on the first floor? If you're making that much money, you should be living on a higher floor. There is a reason we are living on the first floor, I explained. We were on a different floor before, but given that I'm pregnant and elevators can take forever here, we moved to the first floor for convenience. Emma seemed unwilling to accept my explanation. My friends all knew about my career, and even classmates I wasn't particularly close to had heard I was an artist. Emma probably never considered that possibility, given that she had zero interest in art and looked down on me for being a dropout. And I had another secret. Just as I was about to reveal this, I saw David and Betty at the entrance. "Mom!" Betty comes running towards me, followed by David chasing her from behind. David, scratching his head, says,
Sorry about that, got pulled into some work stuff. Brought Betty along too.
While David and I were talking, Emma blurted out, "Wait, who is this handsome man, your husband? He was in work clothes last time. Why the suit now?" David was indeed dressed sharply today. Emma couldn't take her eyes off him, so different from the work clothes she saw him in before. David began greeting my friends.
Thank you for always being kind to my wife. Is everything to your satisfaction? Please let us know if there is anything you need.
Just then, the organizer rushed over.
Thank you for providing this venue for free. The food and drinks are top-notch. Really, thank you.
The truth was, this hotel belonged to David's parents, and he was now the CEO. David had generously offered the venue free of charge for the reunion. Emma's face turned pale upon hearing this. "You are a CEO's wife?" She had looked down on me as poor, but here I was, an artist and a CEO's wife. Emma seemed to be in complete shock. "Why are you, a dropout, married to someone this wealthy, when an elite like me is still single? What did you do to pull this off?" Emma challenged me with a tone of bitterness. David finally noticed Emma and said,
Oh, we have met before. Sorry for being in work clothes the last time. I was helping with a neighborhood cleanup. As the owner of the high-rise apartment, it's important to maintain good relations in the community.
Emma's face turned pale. "Wait, you own that high-rise? Your family owns it?" In fact, David owns that high-rise. His family has been wealthy for generations, involved in hotel management and owning multiple properties. We live in one of those properties, the high-rise in question. Emma stood there stunned, unable to come up with a retort. David added,
By the way, we would like to invite you to the penthouse sometime. It has a great view. You can even see the Empire State Building.
Emma was shocked again. "The penthouse? But don't you guys live on the first floor?" Hearing that, I decided to tell her the truth. "I told you before, I'm pregnant, so we made the first floor our home as well. Basically, both the penthouse and the first floor are ours." Emma was speechless, her body limp with disbelief. With that, I noticed that the friends around us had gone silent, listening intently to our conversation. Feeling like I had ruined the atmosphere of the reunion, I began to head for the exit with David and Betty in tow. As I was leaving, Emma mumbled, "A dropout acting so cocky." I turned to my daughter, who could probably hear Emma's comment. "What matters most is what's inside. Never look down on people." Betty nodded and cheerfully replied. Then Betty turned to Emma and said, "Emma, if you keep making faces like that, happiness will run away from you." Everyone in the room burst into laughter. The atmosphere improved, but Emma, now a laughingstock, ran out of the venue blushing. The reunion proceeded in good spirits, and I enjoyed the rest of the evening with my friends. They too had been mistreated by Emma in the past, so Betty's last word made everyone feel relieved. Months passed and we never encountered Emma at the high-rise again. So one day when David came home, he told me that Emma had finally moved out of the luxury high-rise. According to David, turns out Emma had been skipping rent for 3 months. I even had a lawyer come in to issue an eviction notice. She then skipped town almost overnight. Hearing this, I was floored. David mentioned that the room Emma had rented was left just as it was, furniture, clothes, and all. Apparently, she took her expensive stuff and computer but left everything else as it is. At first, I suspected something shady, but soon after, I got an update on Emma from a friend. Turns out Emma was pretending to be a successful entrepreneur, but in reality, she was practically jobless. She had some savings from her corporate days, allowing her to live comfortably for a while. But of course, that lifestyle couldn't last. She couldn't pay the rent anymore and had to move out. She didn't even have another place lined up, so she left her furniture and clothes behind because she didn't have the money to dispose of them. Learning the truth, I was thoroughly disgusted by how Emma remained a burden to others till the end. Emma has such a terrible personality that even in her crisis, she has no friends or colleagues who would help her. Now she's living alone in an old apartment. She's scraping by with part-time jobs to make ends meet. She used to brag about being a lead and look down on me, a college dropout. I bet her pride is shattered now. I can only hope that she learns to live a more humble and earnest life going forward. As for me, I continue to enjoy my life painting pictures and spending time with my daughter and husband. Our family of 3 gets along wonderfully, and I'm excited that we will soon become a family of 4, including the baby on the way. I intend to keep doing everything I can to protect my family's happiness.
Would you like a sandwich, you single parent poor thing? Our family runs a famous high-end hotel locally. The audacity to think of becoming part of our family is just too much. Can you believe this older lady said that? Today was the day I was meeting my fiancé Jesse's parents for a family meeting. Despite Mom and I coming from afar, we were greeted with such words. Such an attitude towards a guest, and they call themselves a high-end hotel. I was at a loss for words, but then an idea struck me, and I made a call. My name is Chelsea, a 27-year-old office worker. I lost my father to illness when I was young and started working immediately after high school graduation. Mom, a single parent and a nurse's assistant at a hospital, raised me single-handedly. She's hardworking, attentive, and popular at the hospital. I admire her immensely. I have a fiancé, Jesse. We met when he transferred from the Boston branch to the New York head office of our company. Attracted to each other, we dated for a year before deciding to marry. Jesse, 30 years old, is a reliable and dependable man. Our days together are joyful, and Mom approved of Jesse, calling him a wonderful man. We were relieved to be recognized as. Everything was going smoothly towards our marriage, but there was one tricky issue. It was about Jesse's parents, soon to be my in-laws. Jesse's family owns a century-old luxury hotel in Boston, frequented by celebrities and dignitaries. His father is the general manager, and his mother the hotel manager. Jesse, being the eldest son, is expected to take over, but he has no interest in it. His younger brother, already working as the managing director, seems the likely successor. This brother is married, and his wife works as the front office manager. According to Jesse, his mother is very harsh with the front office manager. Jesse's parents have an old-fashioned mindset, believing the eldest son should take over, especially a prestigious graduate like Jesse. They see me, Jesse's fiancé, as unsuitable and have been opposed to our marriage from the start. Despite several attempts to arrange a family meeting, they always claim to be too busy. Finally, Jesse managed to persuade them to meet. I called to arrange the meeting and thought Mom and I could stay at the hotel. The hotel manager, my mother-in-law-to-be, answered the call and said, "Our hotel is at least $400 a night. Can you afford that? I hear you're a single parent's high school graduate." Excuse me? I'm telling you, we're meeting only because Jesse insisted, and I do not approve of you. There will be no special discounts. You're not expecting Jesse to pay for you, are you? What's wrong with this woman? Is this how a hotel manager speaks to a guest? Don't worry, Jesse has informed me about the cost, and of course we will pay our own way. Well, if you say so. Though I think it's a wasted effort, enjoy this once-in-a-lifetime experience. I was simply disgusted by her sarcasm. When I told Jesse, he was furious. "We don't have to go there anymore. Let's apply for a marriage license here and have our wedding," he said, and it made me happy. "But we can't just avoid them completely. We should at least formally announce our marriage," I replied. Jesse seemed reluctant, but I believed a face-to-face conversation would clear things up, and so the day of the family meeting arrived. We were shown to our room by sister-in-law. Jesse, after dropping off his luggage in the room, joined us in ours. Hotel manager will be here shortly. Please wait here. We've prepared some Boston cream pie for you, if you'd like to have some. Sister-in-law was a sweet and adorable person, the kind you'd want to protect, even as a woman. Suddenly, the door burst open. "What are you doing? There are more important rooms to tend to. Hurry up!" An angry voice directed at sister-in-law. "Such a room? Thank you for coming from so far. I'm the hotel manager and Jessie's mother." It was Jessie's mother-in-law, who rudely entered our room uninvited. Taking the time to greet us, "But what kind of dress is that? It looks like room attire." True, our clothes were casual, but we had planned to change into something more formal for the greeting. She intruded without invitation. "Busy with a group reservation today. I don't have much time, so let's make this quick. General manager is busy too, so for now, I'll decide if you're satisfactory." She scrutinized us from head to toe as if appraising us. We were interrogated about everything from how we met to our backgrounds and current jobs. Then, with a heavy sigh, she said, "Jessie, are you really not going to take over the hotel? Bringing such a poor commoner as a partner. It would have been better if at least she looked more presentable. She's tall and almost mannish, and both mother and daughter look so shabby." Would anyone say such things to someone they're meeting for the first time? Jessie, trembling with anger, retorted, "What? Enough of this! This is too disrespectful. I've said it many times. I'm not interested in taking over. I don't mind severing ties with you guys." "What? Did this woman bewitch you?" "No, I said we should marry on our own. Chelsea suggested we should greet you properly. Even Sophia made time for us despite being busy, and yet—" Mother-in-law was about to respond when father-in-law entered. His attitude as arrogant as hers. "Welcome from afar. I heard you're from a single-parent family. And what about Mrs. Sanders' educational background and profession?" Mom answered firmly. "I've been a nurse's assistant at a hospital since graduating high school and becoming a widow." The in-laws exchanged glances and burst into laughter. "A high school graduate? Not even a nurse, but a nurse's assistant. No wonder this marriage is unacceptable," father-in-law said mockingly. "A nurse's assistant, changing sheets and caring for patients, a servant? Bottom of the barrel job. Must have been a poor life. Huh?" Mother-in-law laughed scornfully. Hearing them insult Mom was unbearable. How dare they insult her? I can't allow it. I was seething inside. Married to a high-end hotel manager, I can't imagine such a life. "Mrs. Sanders, were you hoping to become part of our family and stay for free?" Mother-in-law sneered condescendingly. But Mom, who had been silent, finally snapped. "Say what you will about me, but how can I stay silent when you insult Chelsea like this? Such vulgar words towards guests. Maybe you should acquire the grace befitting a luxury hotel." It was the first time Mom raised her voice like that. She was furious. Mother-in-law briefly flinched, but then scoffed. "Words from a loser in life don't affect me. Well, since you're here, how about a sandwich after dinner? You single-parent poor thing. Our family runs a famous high-end hotel locally. The audacity to think of becoming part of our family is just too much. Can you believe this older lady said that? And remember your place. We don't want the hotel's reputation to drop. Please don't come again." Such an attitude towards a guest. So much for a high-end hotel. And father-in-law too. We've prepared the cheapest room to avoid any payment issues. It's still luxurious for people like you, I suppose. With a disdainful look, he looked down on us. "What do you mean by sandwiches after dinner? Are you implying that poor people need more than just dinner?" It seems my hint for you to leave soon hasn't gotten across. This is a problem with single parents and their poor upbringing. Then, we'll be going back to our work now." The in-laws stood up and hurriedly left the room. "Chelsea, I'm really sorry. Sophia, too. I apologize for my rude parents. Now, you see, Chelsea, let's cut ties with parents like them." Jesse apologized so much that I felt bad for him. I had heard about his disdain for his parents, who judge people by their education and jobs. Moreover, mother-in-law, who moved from Oregon to Boston, acts as if she's always lived there, but Jesse always criticized her for lacking any real class, just a faux Bostonian. The hotel is luxurious and majestic, deserving of its history, but those in-laws don't match its grandeur. Don't apologize so much. You've done nothing wrong. But what will we do? Really cut ties? When I asked, he replied, "Of course, I want to be with you, even if it means disowning them." His words made me happy. But I can't let things go without a fight. I couldn't back down now. After whispering something to Mom, who nodded in agreement, I made a call. The next day, I had Jessie go out with a local friend, while Mom and I met with Grandpa, Mom's father, in front of the hotel. Grandpa was furious after hearing our story. Pretending to be our relative, he called the hotel manager, who scolded him, saying they shouldn't come again after being told not to, calling us shameless. When mother-in-law spotted Grandpa, she approached him respectfully. "Well, Mr. Murphy, thank you for always patronizing us. Are you here to discuss a party?" She didn't realize he was the one from yesterday's call. Just seeing Grandpa. Her treatment was completely different from how she treated us. That's as it should be. No wonder, as Grandpa is the well-known chairman of Murphy's Bedding Company, whose products are used in the in-laws' hotel. The mattresses, chosen by father-in-law for their quality foam and coils, were his choice. We only learned then that Grandpa supplied bedding to the hotel. Grandpa, a long-time regular customer, had been sporting and investing in local hotels. Indeed, the in-laws' hotel was among them. Mother-in-law looked puzzled when she saw us approaching Grandpa. Noticing her expression, Grandpa said, "Hotel manager, is something wrong?" "Oh, I forgot to mention. This is my daughter and granddaughter." "What?" Mother-in-law's shocked face was comical. "Grandpa, we were told not to come because we're poor. Seems like the hotel manager wonders why we're here, so let's leave." I put on a sad face. "Oh, so the poor aren't welcome, huh? Actually, I called yesterday to book a room and was told my relatives were shameless. Seems we're not allowed here. Let's go then." Mother-in-law finally realized her mistake. Yesterday, Grandpa had introduced himself as Murphy, but treated dismissively once they knew he was our relative. Mother-in-law turned pale and stammered, "I'm so sorry. I had no idea Mr. Murphy was related to you too." As mother-in-law apologized profusely, I thought, does this hotel choose its guests? Is it all right to treat them poorly if you don't know them? When Grandpa spoke, "No, there's been a misunderstanding." I wondered what kind of misunderstanding. It was hard to suppress my laughter. According to my daughters, it was rude to suggest that poor people like us could become related to someone from this hotel. I apologize for not realizing sooner. It's indeed presumptuous for poor people like us to think we could be related to you. Grandpa's words left mother-in-law repeating excuses and denials. "We're sorry for our shabbiness. Dad, Chelsea, let's leave. Thank you very much for putting up with the poor." Mom delivered the final blow. "Wait, please. That's not it. Wait." Ignoring mother-in-law's panic, we left the hotel to meet Jessie and went to a famous handmade donut shop in Boston for tea. I'm really sorry. Jessie apologized repeatedly. That's why I keep saying you've done nothing wrong, Jessie. Let's apply for marriage and have a party, inviting only the relatives we want, I suggested. Jessie, cutting ties with your parents requires serious resolve. Don't make such a decision based on momentary emotions. Have you really thought it through? Grandpa asked. Yes, I'm thoroughly disgusted with them and ashamed to have them as parents, Jessie answered, looking Grandpa in the eye. Well then, I have nothing more to say. Discuss your future together. Grandpa kindly advised. Then, my mobile phone rang. It was mother-in-law. I'm sorry. I wish you had told me Mr. Murphy was your relative. Mother-in-law's pitiful excuses. I didn't know either. Your attitude changes quickly when you realize I'm a client's granddaughter. We won't be using your hotel anymore, so don't worry about lowering your standards. No, please reconsider. The phone was passed to Grandpa. Your apologies are unnecessary. I've directed our company to use a different hotel. We've been patrons for years. Grandpa declined her apology politely. Please do something about this. We are withdrawing our investments too. It's a shame. We've supported your hotel since my father's time for its interior and service. We thought becoming family would be an honor, but you wouldn't want poor people as relatives, right? Not at all. It would be an honor to be related to Mr. Murphy. I'm truly, truly sorry. You would have insulted me like my daughters if you didn't know who I was. Sorry, but we can't continue a relationship with such people. Oh, and my other granddaughter posted a lot about your hotel on social media. Enjoy that. Goodbye. Wait, please, Mr. Murphy. Ignoring mother-in-law's plea, Grandpa hung up. The other granddaughter is my cousin who joined us here. A senior in college, she skillfully spread the word about the hotel's reviews. Not about the hotel itself, but about the in-law's behavior. Since in-law's house relies on word of mouth, without an official site, the rumor spread quickly. It became clear from other reviews that the treatment of celebrity guests and those on budget plans were drastically different. My cousin was excited. Grandpa, that was so cool just now. I thanked him. What are you saying, Chelsea? I'm like your dad. If anything happens, I'll protect you with all my might. I've been lonely because you never relied on me. Your mom, being stubborn, refused my help after she lost her husband, insisting on doing everything herself. Mom blushed at this. The in-laws, now stripped of their roles as general manager and hotel manager by Jessie's grandfather, the current owner, faced severe reprimand for their attitude and behavior. Employees had long been dissatisfied with their condescending attitudes and tyrannical behavior. They were known to look down on cleaning staff and never even greeted them, leading to a high turnover rate. Replacing the in-laws with brother-in-law as a new general manager and sister-in-law as a new hotel manager prevented further resignations. Though brother-in-law, the younger son, didn't attend a prestigious university like Jessie, his experience in a trading company and fluency in Chinese and French contributed significantly to his role as managing director. His appointment promised a rejuvenation of the hotel with young energy. The owner also sent a polite apology. Grandpa, having known the owner since his father's time, agreed to continue investing and using the hotel for his company. The ousted in-laws, with no experience outside the hotel industry, attempted to work at a cheaper hotel chain, but quickly faltered due to their inability to shed their former pride. Blaming each other, they divorced and now both work as cleaners in a hotel. Mom shared this quietly. Though we had already applied for our marriage, we decided to have our wedding at the newly renovated in-laws house hotel. Many relatives from my mother's side in Boston attended, as did Jessie's family. It turned out the in-laws were disliked even by their relatives, who now hoped to reconnect with the family. Brother-in-law's family had the joyous news of expecting a baby. Sister-in-law, previously under immense stress from mother-in-law's harassment, conceived after mother-in-law's departure. My husband and I promised to treat ourselves to brother-in-law's hotel every anniversary, paying full price. Of course, we will pay for your stay. The owner, as an apology, offered us a half-price stay for our first anniversary, which we gratefully accepted. And now, I'm expecting a baby. Seeing how strong and resolute Mom was when faced with the in-laws' abuse, I admired her even more. I aspire to be a strong and resilient person like her, a mother who can protect her child.